This is a meeting of the Groton Board of Education being held on May 26, 2026 at 6:11. Sorry, I'm a little late this evening. 6:11 p.m. It's being held in Central Office in Room 11. In person today we have Mike Whitney, Jen White, Mitch Shinbach, myself at Washington, and online we have Adrian Johnson, Dr. Andrea Ackerman, and Ian Thomas. And also we have our Assistant Superintendent, Dr. Anne-Marie Mancini. We have our Director of IT, Clint Kennedy, Dr. Clint Kennedy. And we have our Superintendent of course, Susan Austin, and our Director of Finance, Rita Posiak, and Sam Kilpatrick, Director of our facilities. So welcome everyone. We're glad to have everyone here on a lovely Tuesday. The first order is the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And I guess we have no recognition no recognition and participation of our visitors. Okay. The next item on the agenda is comments from citizens in regard to agenda items and other subjects of concern that lie within the jurisdiction of the Board of Education. This is the portion of the agenda where the board welcomes comments from citizens. Each presentation should be limited to 5 minutes or less, and citizens should, if possible, submit written comments. Presentations should be related to matters pertinent to Groton. Board members will only ask questions in order to clarify the speaker's presentation and cannot respond during the comments of citizens portion of the board meeting. Citizens should make their presentations from the podium and state their names and addresses. And tonight we have Mrs. Stefanski. Come up first.
Hi, thank you. Good evening. I'm so glad the students are here so you can see how this all works. My name is Ellen Safransky and I live at 401 Sandy Hollow Road. I've had 4 children graduate from Groton Public Schools, and I have 2 that are still in. One's going to be a freshman and one's going to be a senior at Fitch. So I had earlier on in the year, it started asking the administration at Fitch about the front door buzzer. And I wasn't really getting any answers. They were going to bring it to the safety committee, and I never got any feedback. So I wrote a letter in March 12th, to the board, and I'm just going to read it so that everybody's on board. And I did follow up last week, and I received one reply from Mike, so I'm just wondering where we are with this issue. Hello all. I've repeatedly asked the high school administration to bring the front door entrance up to compliance with the Americans with Disabilities Act, ADA. At present, when a visitor presses the buzzer and the security unlocks the door, the sound indicating that the door has been released is extremely faint. I personally struggle to hear it, and the security desk has confirmed that many other visitors are experiencing the same problem. Because visitors cannot see inside the building, there is also no visual confirmation that security has acknowledged them. At Groton Middle School, the door release sound is also somewhat faint. However, there is an intercom system in place. Visitors or students typically receive a verbal response such as, "Good morning, how can I help you?" or "Come on in," followed by the sound of the door unlocking. This simple communication confirms that the visitor has been acknowledged and that the door has been released. At Fitch, there is neither an intercom system nor a visual cue to indicate that the door has been unlocked. As a result, visitors must guess whether the door has been released. This creates a barrier for many people and is especially problematic for individuals with hearing impairments. In recent discussions, I have become increasingly aware of how many individuals in our community have hearing loss or are deaf in one ear. If someone with normal hearing is unsure whether the door is being unlocked, individuals with hearing disabilities will have no reliable way of knowing. A deaf person, in particular, will have no indication at all that the door has been released. Accessible entry systems are not optional conveniences. They are required by law. ADA standards exist specifically to ensure that public buildings can be accessed by everyone, including individuals with disabilities. For this reason, I respectfully urge the board to prioritize and expedite the installation of an ADA-compliant entry system at all the schools, beginning with Fitch High School. At a minimum, these systems should include clear audible signals, a functioning intercom for communication, and a visual indicator confirming that the door has been unlocked. I have included in this letter the ADA accessibility standards below for reference. To meet ADA guidelines for audible signals such as door buzzers, the sound must be at least 15 decibels above the average ambient sound level, or at least 5 decibels above the maximum sound level and lasting at least 60 seconds. Addressing this issue is not only about convenience, but it's about ensuring equal access, legal compliance, and a welcoming environment for all members of the community. Sincerely, Ellen Safransky. Thank you.
You're welcome. Anyone else like to address the board? No? No? Okay. Response to common citizens.
I'll just say a quick one. As in my email, I also struggled to hear that the Fitch door is very slight at best, and it definitely should be. It could be improved.
Yeah. Any other comments?
Well, I know.
Go ahead, Ian.
I just want to thank Mr. Safransky for coming out and sharing his thoughts and sending her concerns a couple months ago. Apologize I was not able to respond. I think that's sort of lost in the shuffle with some other things. But I think it's a very important issue to address, and I've also had frustrations with that in the past. And I look forward to hearing from facilities tonight as to what we can do to correct that with all due speed. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ian. Adrian?
Yeah, I just wanted to echo that and thank Mrs. Safransky for speaking. And I cannot hear that buzzer at all, and also find it frustrating. So I appreciate your speaking out. Thank you.
Yeah.
Can I also say something? This is actually on our list, and I just sent an email. But we've really teamed on this, and Denise Doolittle and Clint Kennedy are assisting with Sam and the facilities team to correct the issue, both auditorily and visually. So they've had to, do some investigating to get the right parts, but those are going to be ordered and implemented. So as we speak, this is being resolved. So thank you for bringing it to our attention.
Is there a timeline?
Well, yeah, they're working on it now. I'm hopeful for, the start of the school year, or even, maybe even it'll happen through the summer. So, yeah.
I thought the issue was resolved myself because
I
she
did.
brought it up months ago.
Yeah, I did too,
And
but
I thought it was a resolved
it was more
issue.
complicated as far as getting all the parts that you would need so that you can make it totally ADA compliant. It's not like fixing some of the other buzzers that we've had around town. It's a little more complicated than that.
Can I just ask, am I due any kind of response? It's sort of frustrating to show up and see nothing's being done and not being kept in the loop at all, or is that just the way?
No, I will, we'll team on that to make sure that you have, the response you need. I think it's just been a work in progress trying to figure out what it is that we need. So people have been doing the background work in trying to make it compliant, so.
If you give me your phone number, I'll keep you in the loop.
Okay.
When you come by, just write it down on a piece of paper. Because I really thought it was resolved, this issue. But this is the first I hear that it's not resolved. So I'm kind of shocked myself. Okay, moving on. Student rep report. You want to go first, Jacob, or Evan?
Thank you.
Good evening, members of the Board of Education. My name is Evan Vetter, and I am a sophomore at Fitch High School. And I personally believe that the best part about Fitch is how active and involved our school community is. And the last 2 months of the school year are certainly the busiest of all. For example, students recently completed AP and IB testing, which is something that both students and teachers work towards and prepare for the entire year, and they allow students to challenge themselves with college material. I personally took the AP United States History exam, so let's all hope I did well on that. Next, the Fitch Music Department has certainly been busy these past few weeks. Recently, the choir and orchestra performed their end-of-year spring concerts, and our band performs tomorrow night. And at these concerts, seniors are awarded for their dedication and years of performance. And there are also a lot of end-of-year ceremonies and awards. First being the Underclassmen Awards, in which underclassmen are celebrated for their academic achievement throughout the year. Next being the Athletic Awards, where athletes are awarded for their hard work and dedication to their sports. Then the Senior Awards, where seniors are commemorated for their 4 years of academic achievement. All culminating with graduation, an amazing ceremony for seniors to celebrate their high school career, and I feel that graduation really unites the entire school community. And overall, this time of year is both incredibly busy and meaningful at Fitch. Students are recognized and celebrated for their hard work and accomplishment, and I can say it's certainly my favorite time of year, just getting to commemorate everything that's happened so far. And I believe that it's something that truly brings students together. Thank you.
Thank you. Jacob?
Good evening, Board of Ed members and honored guests. My name is Jacob Salazar, and I am a freshman at Fitch High School. It is an honor to speak with you today as we celebrate all that is happening in our school community during these final weeks of the 2025 through 2026 school year. As we approach the end of the year, there is so much to be proud of. This year has been filled with determination, growth, leadership, and success. Students across every grade level have worked hard academically, in athletics, in the arts, and throughout our community. And now we are preparing to finish the year stronger than ever. Our seniors are especially excited as graduation season officially begins. On May 27th, seniors will begin cap and gown pickup, marking the start of the final countdown towards graduation. Seniors have already been preparing for the next chapter of their lives through meetings, award nights, induction ceremonies, and final exams. Important events are coming quickly throughout the next few weeks. On June 1st, seniors will take part in the senior trip. On June 2nd, Underclassmen Award Night will take place at 6 p.m. On June 4th, Senior Awards Night will begin at 6 p.m. to honor the hard work and achievements of the class of 2026. On June 5th, students will participate in Fitch Field Day and SEAL activities. Senior exams will also begin soon, followed by exams for the rest of our students. Seniors will attend graduation rehearsals to prepare students for one of the biggest moments of their lives. On June 17th, seniors will also enjoy a senior barbecue lunch together. Then on June 18th at 4:30 p.m., the Fitch High School class of 2026 will officially graduate. As we celebrate these accomplishments, we are also continuing to improve as a school community. Our attendance goal remains at 98%, and students and staff are working harder every day to improve attendance and stay committed to learning. Every class period matters, and every student's efforts help build a stronger Fitch High School. We are also proud of the incredible students involved in the National Honor Society. The NHS continues to recognize students for their leadership, scholarship, service, and character. Members of the class of 2026 have represented Fitch with pride through community service projects and academic excellence, showing what it truly means to be a Falcon. Our students have also shined through music, athletics, and extracurricular activities. Chorus concerts, sports teams, and school organizations have brought excitement and school spirit throughout the year. From performances on stage to victories on the field and court, our Falcons continue to demonstrate teamwork, passion, and perseverance. We also want to recognize the dedication and leadership of our NJROTC program. The NJROTC chain of command demonstrates responsibility, discipline, teamwork, and leadership throughout our school community, and the passing of one rank to another. These cadets continue to set an example for others by leading with integrity and commitment, helping strengthen the spirit and pride of Fitch High School. This school year has not always been easy, but it has been another year of growth, achievement, and success. Students have pushed through challenges, supported one another, and continued striving for excellence. Now, as the school year comes to an end, everyone is excited to celebrate the accomplishments we have earned together and look forward to a bright future ahead. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Evan.
Any questions for our student reps? Comments? Ian?
I just want to say thank you. Appreciate all you do and the time you put into this. And especially appreciate you giving a shout out to the NJROTC. Very happy with that program. I'm glad to hear that it's continuing to thrive.
Okay, Mitch?
I thought you both did a great job.
Yeah, didn't they?
Yeah. Any other comments? Well, thank you, Evan and Jacob, for coming. And hopefully we'll see you next year. You know, you did a great job.
Yeah, you did.
Great job
Thank you.
reporting what's happening at the high school, and go Falcons, right?
Yeah.
So thank you. Next, I'd like to add something to the agenda, if it's okay with the board. I'd like to move to amend the agenda to add discussion and possible action in regard to the funding priority list that was proposed by the superintendent. And let me say publicly what's on that list before we vote.
Just a quick parliamentary order thing. I think we have to do the vote to suspend the rules in order to do this, and then we can discuss the item.
Okay. I didn't see that on Robert's rules, that you had to suspend the rules. I spent a couple of hours trying to figure that out, but
It's an FOI
I didn't
thing.
see it.
This FOI thing.
Yeah, okay, but it didn't say that you had to suspend the rules, but I don't mind suspending the rules.
Last page gives you
Okay, do I have a motion to suspend the rules?
Yeah, I move we suspend the rules to discuss the funding priorities list that was proposed by superintendent.
I'm going to read what's on the list, okay? Oh, you're just going to, okay.
Oh, do we have to vote for that? I mean, it's the 2/3, right?
Yeah, 2/3 vote. Okay, all those in favor of suspending the rules, say aye.
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 Aye. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's 7 of us. Any opposed?
Could we project that? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Abstentions? Okay, we are suspending the rules.
Is there any way we can project that on the screen?
I don't have the document. I don't have access to it here.
So Mike and Mitch. All right. So now I'll make a motion to amend the agenda to add discussion and possible action in regard to the funding priority list. And the list is, real quick, accelerated student learning, K-8 math and ELA curriculum for $300,000. And then the next is the PA system, radios. The PA system is $233,000, and the radios is $50,000. Next is the robotics field for $250,000. The fourth one on the list is the 2 maintenance vehicles for $120,000. And the fifth one on the list is Fitch High School and Central Office entryway. That's a cost for $60,000. And those first 5 items add up to $1,013,000. Those are the first 5 items. And those are the top 5 on our list. Then we gave the town council some options. Good.
Thank you.
Utilities for $300,000. We have underfunded ESY based on needs. Camp Button, and this is for paras, $62,000. Para educators, $239,000. And then the 8th thing on our list is the auditorium, Phase 2, sound system and projection, that's $75,000. And then digital communication signs for Kathleen Kanaski, Northeast Academy, Mary Morrison, and Charles Bonham. That comes to $140,000. And HVAC testing and remediation at Fitch High School for $200,000. So we have 10 things on our list. As Mitch pointed out to me, and it's on this list, that this comes to over $2 million. But the first 5 on the list are our priorities, and the second 5 are options, just in case the town council may not like the first 5. And the reason we have to do this tonight is because the town council is setting their mill rate and their tax rate tonight, and they are going to discuss whether to give us the $1 million or not. They do not have to give us the $1 million, so they asked to see the list. If they gave us $1 million, how would we spend it? And this is the list. I called all 10 board members. I spoke to 9 out of the 10. I got their feedback, and Susan and her team met, and she got feedback from the team, and together we came up with this list. So it wasn't, we didn't have much time. So, Ian.
Thank you. Looking on this, I'm a little concerned. I support the idea, and I'm glad that we have the opportunity to speak to this. I've read some of the emails that went back and forth as far as like how it got to be like this, and you know, to me it's a little concerning, like how much influence the council has over this money. But I understand why it's coming through the municipality. Different towns, all the towns have the same sort of parameters that they have to go through the municipality to do this, to my understanding. Now, I'm just a little concerned that it does sort of like cross the streams in the sense that, you know, typically like, you know, the town council deals with lump sums. And then it's up to the board to allocate those particulars within the lump sums. Now, there can be commentary and recommendations, but to have, this basically, to me, it seems like it's almost backing into a yay or nay type vote that the council is going to have over how we allocate this money within our budget or within the district. Because these are supposed to be, to my understanding, also one-time expenditures. So I can appreciate the fact that we have some backups there, but I'm concerned about the line item veto precedent that may be set here. You know, and do we have like some communication from them that they want to award to allot this to the school district, and that they you know, what would be the procedure on their part if they disagree with the first 5 that we put out there? I guess there's another question I'd be here to speak to.
I don't know. I don't have an answer to that. Hopefully they don't disagree on the first 5, but if they do, that's why we have 10. But if we want this $1 million from them, it's something that they asked us to do. They're not going to give us $1 million unless we have a plan on how we're going to spend $1 million. So.
Okay, so the first 5, are those all fit the description as far as not inflating the MBR? Is it just one-time expenditures to fill a gap?
The first 5 are. Yep. The only catch with the first 5 is the ELA and the K-8 math. I think that's already in our budget, if I'm not mistaken. And they didn't really want anything in our budget to be on the list, but we feel strongly about this item, and that's why we put it on the list. And the first goal of the Board of Education is improving student outcome. So we feel really strongly about this one.
The first 5 do add up to $1 million, is that correct?
Yes, you can add it up yourself.
Okay.
A little over.
A little over.
And I'm almost set for now, but I'm generally in support of the idea of like putting this out there if that's the requirement, but I do have my reservations about the overall boundaries between, you know, Board of Ed in town council.
Okay, thank you. Adrian, then Mike, and then Mitch.
All right, yeah, thank you. I was going to comment on that K-8 math and ELA curriculum, that's already included in the budget, to my knowledge. And I was under the impression, are we, as I guess I'll just ask you, Beth, since you made this motion, are we voting that we will do, some of these 10 items and that there's no other options? Is that what we're voting on tonight?
Correct. We're voting on that if they give us $1 million, we will do what's on this list. And if we don't, it's going to ruin our credibility with the town council, because they're going to agree to give us the money based on this list, or maybe they won't give us the money. I don't know how the vote's going to go tonight. But if we say this is our plan on how we're going to spend that money, that's how we have to spend that money. I mean, you don't have to, but you're going to lose your credibility with the town council. And I don't want that to happen. My credibility means a lot to me.
Yeah, well, so I would just say that, and I would think that the town council would want the board to make deliberative decisions on how we want to allocate funding. And I mean, I see some of these items here, and I know I saw some emails where some of these items were listed, but this is the first time I've seen it in this format that I know of. But I would like to think that the board would have some time to think about and deliberate and figure out where the needs really are through a thoughtful process, rather than rushing to come up with how do we spend $1 million quickly. So I, in principle, agree with calling this a list of priorities, but I would not want to vote to say that we're going to do these items and these items only, because we may have other priorities, and I think that was the whole point of the legislation. I totally agree that we should not be funding things that are otherwise in our budget, but I don't know that I feel like it's the best, because effectively, I mean, the state gave us money. It's the taxpayers' money, because it can either go straight back to the taxpayers, or it can go offset taxpayer cost in education. So I think that what we need to do for the taxpayers is the right thing, and we really need to think this out a little bit. I would like to, so in principle, I think that these are good priorities, or most of them. I don't necessarily understand them all to be able to vote on that tonight. So I think I'll be abstaining if we're voting on a yes or no on these specific things tonight. But I appreciate what they want, but I would hope that they would just accept a list of what we think our priorities are going to be, but we need those priorities to be well thought out, and we've had a couple of days to think this through, and not in no meetings to think this through. So that's my piece, and I'd be curious to see what others have to say. Thank you.
And Susan sent out the list on Friday, Adrian, so you had a couple of days to think about it.
It came with the narrative, Adrian.
Yeah.
On the holiday weekend.
That's okay. I spent a lot of time on Saturday calling and talking to board members, so. Mike.
Yeah, thank you. The first one, the Accelerate Student Learning Achievement, that $300,000. I know it's it's in the budget that we put forward to the town council and the RTM, but there was an $800,000 reduction. So I'd say that, I mean, given that it's at risk, right? I think it's important to have that one in here. I couldn't remember this one, the safety and security improvements, the $283,000, that's the second one. Part of it was a phase 2 replacement upgrades to Fitch High School PA system. And I didn't look back at this. I thought we'd had that in a second CIP. Did that just not go through? Or what?
We have had the auditorium fixed up for sound and, I guess, lights and everything, but there's still a piece of it that we're still not getting voices clear enough. When you go to performances, you've probably experienced this.
Yeah.
So it's better than it was, but it still needs some improvement.
So the first that CIP was a couple of years ago.
Right.
That's been those upgrades have been done.
But there's still some more to be done.
And there wasn't anything this year, we didn't put forward a CIP about that this year?
Yeah.
Okay.
What we put forward was the CIP number 2, but that's for next year. Clint thought it was for this year, number 2, but it was actually for next year.
Oh, we didn't.
We had one part
Yeah.
of it that could be
Yeah.
done 100,000, but then the 233 was, we
Oh,
have to put it in for next year, so it'd be a whole nother year before
Yeah.
we got
Oh,
to that.
okay, so
Yeah.
that accelerates that
Yeah.
schedule.
Yeah, that accelerates it.
The number 3, the Dream Path, the robotics and manufacturing space is not only for field and other uses. The 250,000, but we talked about maybe getting that from grants, but were those not grants that we had yet, or?
Right, we've applied for one grant. We're also working with EB, but I don't know how long that would take. I haven't gotten any indication of that EB has a robotic center, but I don't know that they could do that yet.
Got it. So there's no money in the house for that?
No, and we looked at temporary, we're going to be meeting with you all to show you the different versions that we looked at and which ones seem most viable.
Yeah, and actually, number 2, the Fitch Auditorium, when that CIP came around, we had also applied for a community grant, which I was thinking very optimistically, since we were very successful, but in general grants, but that didn't come through, I think because of the community partner end of it, not really as much our end. And so it's a cautionary tale that if you don't have the money and it's a priority, it should be in here as it is. Number 3. The number 4, the maintenance vehicles, we've been talking about that a lot, of course. The Fitch High School walkway, number 5.
And central office, I squeezed that in because it's crumbling too.
And anticipated utility cost, that could be a good pick. That's number 6. But number 7 is a special education cost increases. This was the one that I was wondering, does this include, it says the parent education cost of living adjustments, I got that, but then there's a lesser, is there any additional staff that's going to be hired on that one? It felt like no, but I couldn't tell.
There's a little history
Yeah.
that with ESY in the morning, of course, by law, we're supporting all of that and, the children getting there and their education during the summer, 4 to 6 weeks. Afterwards, there's a Camp Button, which is a specialized program for students with significant special needs run by the town. It's been a very positive. We put it right at the same school for the afternoon so kids get to play and do all those things. But we've always supported the paras, and it's at the tune of $62,000. We have one more year to do that, and then I think they're going to take that on at the town level. So we were thinking for this year that would be very helpful to offset, because that's always an additional cost. And we don't know really how much it's going to be until they've hired the people.
Yeah.
So.
Got it. And then I'll just go down to that let's see. I conflated the 2 Fitch things. The Fitch Auditorium is number 8.
Yeah.
Apologize for that. 75,000. The one at number 2 was the PA system, which that's what was going to be for next year. That we
Yeah,
talked about.
exactly.
I'm sorry about that. I get that confused. The other thing is, I guess the only one on this list, I see number 9 and 10, the signs and the HVAC. Sorry, nitpicking, I'd say, well, the signs don't seem that urgent, though I understand how that would bring everything in line with other schools. But then my question is, what is the current read from the governor? And it seems like we have a different interpretations of. It seems like the money was coming to education, right? That was the intent. And then I heard it should supplement, not offset. But then it goes to the ECS funding, which that goes straight to town as this is, and it's up to them how they spend it. Really, do we have a clear idea of what the intent is at the state level for use of this money? That's my question. I mean, I like how we're aligning it, as my town council agrees, but do we have some sense, real guidance from the state?
It's challenging because even the governor has said it different ways, I think. Even Beverly had a conversation with the governor.
But I think it
for
changed
education.
with what's that, OCM, CCM, they changed it. So my understanding, and I could be wrong, is that the governor, the legislative had X amount of dollars that they gave towns. If the town didn't give us an increase in our budget, if we got a 0% increase, then that $1 million will automatically come to the school district. But we didn't get a 0% increase. We got a $5 million increase. So the town can use that money to offset taxes. Now that's my understanding of it.
And they get the towns all got another pot of
2.3.
money as well, right?
Mhm.
Like, this is through ECS that
Yeah.
we're talking about,
Right.
and they got an additional, I can't remember how
And it
much.
doesn't raise the MBR, so even if it came directly to us, it would not raise the MBR. So they took that as leverage, so it could be used for education, without being penalized for it. And according to my CAPS group and the CSDE, every district is doing it a little different. Some are, funding things in education. So when Bev said, let's prioritize, I thought that was a good idea to show what, and it's interesting because both the board and the CO directors and some administrators were pretty in line, like neck and neck with priorities. So that kind of came out interestingly. So
So I'll just say, if town council's listening during their meeting, split screen, that we could definitely put these funds to good use in the school system.
without raising the MBR.
Yes.
And it is a one-time thing. You don't want
one time.
to be having to continue.
And if the governor's listening, having extra funding every year would help our system improve scores in a foundational way.
Mitch?
Okay, what I'd like to say is, I think it's important to present a list like this. I do have some questions about the list to the town council and give them a stake in what's going on. It also helps to promote goodwill, and that's extremely important. So we want to do that, and whatever we tell them we're going to spend the money on, we need to make sure that we spend the money on those things and not on other things, okay? Having said that, I thought what I heard was that the items on here are not supposed to be items that are on the budget, that are in the budget, okay? And the first thing on the list is, so you may have an issue with that.
That's why we
Okay,
have the additional 5, just in
Yep.
case I have an issue with that one.
and as far as the order of these go, I'd like to switch 3 and 10.
That's the HVAC for the,
Yep.
For the robotics field.
The HVAC is going to be a mandatory thing. We're going to have to do it sooner or later. And we don't even know if it's going to end up costing that much to do the remediation because we don't have the test results. So, and that meets the requirements that the town council has put on this list. So, those are that's what I have about this that I'm concerned about.
So you would like to switch 10 and 3.
Yes.
Is that going to be a motion, or are we talking about this in a way that we're going to be?
We're just discussing. We're just discussing. Dr. A, your turn. Are you all done, Mitch?
I'm all done. Thank you.
Dr. A?
Thank you. I know I'm old, but I'm not dead yet. And I know that we have discussed these things, we've known about them, we've even beaten them to death. We even knew about Sam's Church, for heaven's sake. We've been to the high school. Have you ever tried to walk up the steps in the front of the central office? You want to wait till we're sued? I mean, these things have been well thought out, not only by us and discussed, but by Susan and the staff. these things are on point, and I just wanted to go on record saying that.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. A.
You're welcome.
Jen.
So when I saw the list and I saw number one, I made the same comment to Beverly when I was having that discussion, but came to the same realization that Mike did. We have it in the budget. They removed $800,000. They can't dictate to us how we remove the $800,000, but we could technically say we removed that $300,000. That could easily been one of the options. We probably won't do it because investing in education is important. But if you think of it in that manner, potentially that $300,000 is off the table, and we need to put it in to invest in our students. So hopefully town council sees it in that manner. But when I opened that was the first thing on my list. I'm sure town council definitely knows that $300,000, and it should not have been the first item. So same concern, but hopefully they can see that it could potentially be one of the items that we remove if they gave it to us, so that we can keep tutors or whatever it may be.
Okay. Adrian, you all set yet? Adrian, you had your hand up?
Yeah, thank you. The PA system, I'm a little confused on that. I didn't know that we had a need for that, because I was under the impression that we got a CIP for FY26 last year that I thought was going to fix the PA system, but it turns out that it was half of what was needed. And then we were told this year, and I believe that CIP was submitted for, I forget what the number was, $50,000 or $100,000, to complete the PA system. And now we were going to buy, I think it was some of the back end stuff. So last year, what we were told this year is that we had to buy the stuff in the classrooms and the wiring. And I think last year we bought the base unit that goes in the office. So I'm not really sure. And I believe that CIP was approved, so I don't understand. Can somebody explain to me why there's another 200, after those two CIPs, why we have another $233,000 for a PA system?
Well, the technical answer is that Clint is the one who's best to really describe that. But there's more work that needs to be done in order to really make sure that we have the PA system fully working. So I can have him put something in board notes for you.
Well, I mean, we're voting on this tonight, and I am a little bit bothered to hear that for the third time. I mean, I thought we were done with it on the first CIP. Then I thought we were done with it on the second CIP. So to me, it seems like we should have an actual plan that says the PA system is going to cost $400,000. We're going to do it in 3 installments, rather than just hearing installment by installment that we didn't pay the car off. So I'm a little bit bothered to hear about that, now. And I agree, the K-8 curriculum is in our budget. I think that having that in this priority list is disingenuous, in my opinion. I think that, the town chose to cut our budget by $800,000. We should cut our budget by $800,000. And I was under the original assumption that this money was to benefit teaching and learning. And although I think that all of these items are important and necessary, it seems to me that this list, aside from the the K-8 ELA curriculum, that's exclusive to facilities and does very little to directly improve learning and student achievement outcomes. So I appreciate the town council wanting to know. I think that we could say generally that we will do a lot of these things, but I don't believe we should be committing to this at this time, because I just think it needs more deliberation. And I would like to think that our town council wants us to deliberate, and make the best decisions for our students. And I have to imagine that that this rushed action, that they would want us to do that, and they would appreciate that. So if we agree to these funding priorities in principle, but not saying that we're going to spend that extra funding exclusive towards these priorities.
Okay. Jen wants to respond.
In regard to the PA system in the auditorium, when we were at the education RTM review, right, for the CIP section, there was a misunderstanding that they thought that the $100,000 that they approved in this upcoming school year also approved that $232,000 for the 27-28 year. It was discovered during that education RTM meeting that it was not fully approved, the $300,000 request. It was only approved at the $100,000, and that the following year, the additional $230,000 would be put up for CIP. So that's what transpired, and so I have a feeling it was added to this list so that we can have like a comprehensive, and we can put the system up this year if we get the funding. And in regards to the commentary for funding for our facilities, the students need to be in our buildings. It needs to be safe, it needs to be clean. And in the past couple of years, we've had 0% increase, or no, I don't want to say that. That's I'll take that back. We've had minimal increases, and they're primarily directed at our staff and investments. So what was being neglected is our buildings and facilities, and we do need to invest in that. When Beverly and I toured Charles Barnum, there were some doors that had holes, like in the bottom where critters can come in. Our students who sit on the floor should not be exposed to like where critters can come in. So we need to make investments in the physical appearance of our school, the safety of our school, and if it's a one-time investment, this is the best time to invest in that, and don't take it as the kids can't benefit. Because if the school system, and this is just me, if the school looks good, feels good, the kids are going to want to come in. If it's dumpy, moldy, whatever, now we pose a safety hazard and so forth and so on. So just think of it that way, that we're investing in the entire community and not just like the staff. And I'm always pro like investing in the staff, but we also need to take care of where the students are going to reside during their 8 to 10 hour or however long they're at school with the bus and after school, in school. So,
Dr. Kennedy, you want to respond to Adrian's comment?
Forgive me, if the question can be repeated, I'm happy to address it.
Can you tell them about the PA system and the radios up at the high school?
You want me to give you an overview of where we're at?
Yes.
Sure. So,
And then talk about, have you had it in your CIP list, and then you found out that it's for the 2027 year?
Yeah, so they approved $100,000 for phase 4 of the security cameras for moving forward, which builds upon our current system. It's really just to finish completing all those additional cameras that building principals have requested. So that is moving forward for next year. They will consider the phase 2 of the PA system in 2028 for Fitch High School. Again, phase 1 was the brains of the operation, and it's connected to existing wiring, speakers, etc. Phase 2 will allow for those bi-directional speakers as well as visual display, as well as panic buttons, etc. Again, we based the original estimate on what others have done in a similar area, but we will tighten that up as we get closer, obviously with cost changing, final design and so forth. And we have standard radios at the high school that will continue as we've had across the district. We now have the ability to program our own radios and so forth, so we keep those on the road as best we can. Those are a high traffic item,
because they're typically on somebody's hip and in the field, outside, inside, in classrooms and so forth. So that is a first line of defense, and we have those obviously in every school.
Okay. Thank you, Clint. Mike?
And then just briefly, the other part was the Fitch High School auditorium. I looked, so that's, it's upgrade phase 2. That's at $75,000. That was a zero in the proposed budget this year. So like that didn't go through, but it's described what that phase 2 is.
Did you want to speak to that? I think that by us attending many performances and musicals and things, we're always keeping our ear open and our eyes open to make sure the quality has gotten better, because a lot of work has been done. But I think you and I had a conversation after Into the Woods about, that it still needs some more improvement. Would you say that's true?
We met with a local sound professional as well as a parent who helped facilitate, and he reached out and had some suggestions. We met as a team with him and built kind of a to-do list, short-term, mid-term, long-term, and we were able to accomplish much on that list that required only existing kind of in-kind time and resources and configurations. We are meeting again in June to continue that conversation, and a lot of those upgrades would be around current replacement of current pieces of the facility, especially speakers, front stage, sides, and rears, which we have working, but we have a list of recommendations that for a fee or for a price would make the sound system ultimately better. So it's not an addition, it's a replacement of equipment that we've tried to keep on the road over time.
And some of those sensitive microphones so that student voice can be heard, whether they're moving their head or not.
We can always use more wireless microphones as these ensembles continue to grow.
Yes.
And that is part of the overall conversation.
Okay. Thank you, Clint. Adrian?
I was just going to say that I appreciate that there was some discussion on that in the RTM meeting. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to attend online, and the meeting wasn't recorded. So I think that when that type of thing happens, somehow the board needs to be let know. And Jen, I would just go back to say, like you just mentioned the Charles Barnum doors, and that's exactly the reason that I think that committing to these 10 things and saying that we can't have any variation, because the Charles Barnum doors aren't on this list to my knowledge. And I don't know if that, obviously that's just something that was said in the meeting, and we don't know what the 10 biggest priorities of the district are. But I think doing it in this kind of haphazardly way, I mean, not that it's haphazardly, I'll call it a rushed method, I don't think does our students or the taxpayers any service.
Ian and then Mike.
Thank you. So I think, it's been mentioned, like, concern about why or the process by which this is happening. It is rushed. It's highly pressurized. And we should discuss for a minute why. What is the town council's pressure on us to get this considered, get this submitted somehow? Well, tonight they have a special meeting where they're going to set the mill rate on the budget. And one of the options on the table is for the town council to take this money and use it to offset the increase in mill rate, as opposed to sending it to education. That's why we're up against the wall here. And ostensibly on the calendar, the special meeting in which they're going to vote on that and ratify it is supposed to happen at 7 o'clock, which is pretty much now. I'm not sure if they're on schedule for that, but long story short, this is why we're getting the big rush here. And I also have my concerns with how this is being handled. I think there's great concern with the fact that, these are supposed to be one-time investments to improve student learning or student opportunity. And, the maintenance, the infrastructure stuff, the HVAC testing and remediation, we've been asking for, that's been a CIP request for a number of years now, ever since that mandate came down from the state. the auditorium improvements and the PA system, the radios, those are also CIP requests that we had going. So, I don't think we should take those off the board and use this money for that, since there's other pathways that are available, grant money and all the other stuff that could be used. So, in the math and ELA curriculum, yes, in theory, that's what we should be investing in, but that is also part of our operational budget. So, I'm concerned about putting forth stuff that's easily, that could be used to discredit these requests by the council. So, I think we should focus on one-time investments that are just basically infrastructure improvements or operational improvements that, will increase opportunity and for students. So obviously, I've made a lot of noise about the robotics field, so I'm fine with it being up high on the list, because that's long overdue, and that's something that we do need to address. And special education cost increases, and the paraeducators, again, there are grant opportunities out for those things, as well as those are things that should be part of our operational budget. Those are not one-time expenses. So I do have concerns about, the communication signs, I'm not sure exactly what that means, but if that's just like signs for out front in the school or inside the school, I'm not sure how much that really improves teaching, learning, and immersion opportunities. Salt weather damage repair, again, that's maintenance and repair. We should already have that built in the budget. We should be taking care of that as part of our routine maintenance. It should not take up special money. This is like windfall money in a way that we should use as a booster pack in order to raise the district up to in ways that we weren't able to even conceive of before. So I just want everyone to understand exactly why we're getting the rush over this weekend. It's because the charter mandates that the town council set the mill rate by before the end of May, whatever the actual date is, and they're trying to get that done tonight. And that's why we're getting pressed up against the wall on this. And honestly, I'm not sure that any of this is going to pass, because past behavior and decisions made, usually they're just going to go for the easy win.
Ian, let's not talk negative about the town council, please.
I'm just saying,
Ian, please do not talk negative about the town council.
I'm not negative. I'm observing.
I don't care to hear your observations on the town council. Moving on. Thank you, Ian. Any other comments? Mike?
Just a quick one. There's some things on this list that if we had more time, like to deliberate, but these are one-time monies, and these are educational, technical, and physical infrastructure improvement. That's what you pretty much have to spend one-time monies on to have that long-lasting effect. And most of them are long-identified needs, and so if the town council approves the monies to go to these things this year, it avoids having to spend on them next year or the year after, when things will be more expensive to do. So ultimately, I think it's a sensible thing to do, but economically, it makes a lot of sense too. And I hear what everyone's saying about the process, but we are, as you say, squeezed by the town charter at one end, and the not knowing about the funds until even a couple of weeks ago. So that squeezes the timeline. I'm very happy that we're talking about it here, and I'm ready to vote myself.
Okay. All right. Let's take a vote on the list of priorities as put forward. Everybody has the list. It's right in front of you. I'll take a vote. Dr. A? How will you vote, Dr. A?
I'm voting yes.
Yes?
For the list. Yes for the list.
Okay. Mike?
Yes.
Jen?
Yes.
Mitch?
No.
Jay?
Yeah.
Ian?
I'm going to abstain on this.
Okay. Adrian?
Abstain.
Okay, and I vote yes, so it passes. This is our list for the town council, and we have to do everything that we say we're going to do on this list. We are committed to it. Okay, so that passes, Joan. A yes was Jay, myself, Andrea, Mike, and Jen. Mitch was a no, and Ian and Adrian abstained.
Is this something we could quickly text to John?
Yeah, I will. I will. Next on the agenda is superintendent and assistant superintendent report.
All right. So thinking ahead, summer is really around the corner as we kind of wind down, especially with the testing and everything that's been going on, and lots of events, though. So we're trying to keep the board posted on all those events that are happening in June. But for summer, we are going to be very busy, and so I wanted to give you a list, and I'll actually write it out for you. And you're welcome to stop by and visit us. We have a lot of summer programs and camps going on. Starting July 6 to 9, we will have our famous elementary STEM camp, and it will be housed at CK. It typically is always at CB, but CB is getting a roof, we hope. So that's the plan. Groton Middle School will also have their STEM camp, and they actually have 2 4-day weeks, 6th through the 9th and the 13th through the 16th at Groton Middle School. In addition, Ben Moon is overseeing a robotics and drone camp to really get kids excited about robotics and drones for entering 7th and 8th graders, and that will be at Groton Middle School. July 6th through 30th, Fitch High School has their credit recovery and enrichment. And last year, past several years, I see a lot of kids doubling up in mathematics, which I had to do back in the day. But I love seeing kids taking that opportunity so that they can get into an ABC calculus class or do a statistics class in addition. So we have that going on. And we have a lot of kids who do recover with their credits and are able to graduate on time because of the summer program. ESY is for our special needs students through their IEP, and that will be at Mystic River Magnet, and that camp that I was talking about, Camp Button, which is supported by the town Parks and Rec, is the afternoon program, and that works out great for our students. The city has their recreation camp at Thames River Magnet, and the town has their recreation camp at Northeast Academy, and I'm hearing great things about both camps. These opportunities that our kids can have in the summertime at a really fair cost is so great for our families. So I'm sure I will help support and send out my parent square just for families to be so aware of what they have to offer here in Groton. And then the roof project, we're going to be voting on later on for Charles Barnum, and I know that Rita and Sam and Joyce have worked tirelessly to make sure that we're following suit with all of this, with the DAS, the Department of Administrative Services. And Mary Morrison, we are spending now. I was worried we wouldn't get that $600,000 spent, but we are working away and getting those additional windows and painting the whole building, really, painting all the classrooms and hallways, doing outdoor and indoor work with a new playground being delivered. There's just a plethora of items that are on the list that will really improve our Mary Morrison and get it ready for our pre-K students. And I understand that they are signing up, and we're going to be doing some communications around that so families are aware of, all that they will see at Mary Morrison. And certainly we'll do something at the start of the year to invite families there. So that is a very busy schedule. So I know our maintenance and custodians work overtime, even in the summertime, and as Sam does, and Tom and Charlie. So I really appreciate that, and looking forward to stopping by these different camps and programs to see how everybody's doing. So you're welcome to do that too.
Maybe do you want to add anything? No, you were good. Okay. Thank you, Susan. Next is reports from the Director of Finance. That's attachment 1, 2, and 3.
Here we go. So the first attachment is the general fund financials. We spoke about all of these reports during finance and facilities meeting. So as of May 3rd, you will see that there is a balance of $180,000, and I included the non-lapsing funds, which gives the remaining balance $843. I don't know if I can increase it. Is it big enough, I hope? Is that? Oh, I'm sorry. Trying to get back up for you. Okay. So that was as of May 3rd. The deadlines, the year-end deadlines just ended for all of the departments to get their stuff in, so this is dramatically changing in your next report. It's going to be lower, so I anticipate spending the non-lapsing funds on most of the items that were approved. And as you look at the detail, that's when you'll see in the notes whether we're using the non-lapsing funds or if I'm doing a true-up transfer, which we will see on the budget transfers. Does anyone have any questions on the general fund balances or?
Ian, you have a question?
Yeah, I had a question about the phrase releasing the non-lapsing fund. Because my understanding that it's basically like that's our fund to do with as we determine. It's not the town council's purview. They don't have a vote on it.
That's correct. I was just waiting for the audit to be completed so they would release them.
Okay.
Okay. But they are.
Yeah. It's more procedural than permission.
Right. They just have to create a count down at the town. You're welcome.
And we know where we're going to be needing those funds.
Yes, we've already voted on it. There might be a little bit of changes, but I'll bring that to the board if those things change. We've gotten a credit. I think we received another $20,000 from the DODEA Children with Disabilities, so that is going to bring that total under the 500s up to $140,000 for the year. You'll see that on the next report. But other than that, is there any other questions? And I know this is.
I just want to make sure. I think I understand this. But based on right now, will we run out of money by the end of this year? Will we need extra funds beyond the non-lapsing funds?
I don't believe so. We talked about, in the finance facilities about whether or not we send the last payment of the insurance. There is an insurance payment that is encumbered but not sent. But I think we're on the right track. I mean, I'm not too concerned about going over.
Okay. And then then this question was our exposure to fuel gets less because the heating's not as much right now. But were we seeing that continued impact? Like it's not as volatile, but the prices are still going up now.
I am having a staff member work on, the utilities cost analysis for next year to see how we're going to, how our next budget's going to be. But for right now, I feel comfortable with what's encumbered is what we'll spend for this year. Is that what you're asking?
Yeah. So there's no need at this point. I mean, you can't control much toward the end of the year anyway, but like freezing spending on site budgets or anything like that.
Well, that's kind of happening naturally.
Well, my deadlines have passed, so they can't put any more requisitions in now. What they put in through last week is it. They had a deadline, so
unless there's an emergency.
Yeah, obviously facilities is emergencies come up and stuff like that. But the departments had a timeline of when they had to get their POs in, and it's just an encumbrance as well. So sometimes the item doesn't come in and we have to cancel. But like I said, the end of May is going to be a better report because that was when their deadline was. And you should, we'll be talking about that on Tuesday on our next Finance and Facilities meeting.
All right,
So-
thanks for keeping us on track.
Yeah. I-
Today.
One thing that was mentioned in the finance and facilities, Rita and her team did a reevaluation of like the hourly encumbrances, so they have a better feel for that. Whereas like a month or 2 months ago, the salaried and the hourlies wasn't as crisp, and they did a more thorough review. Obviously, there's still some room for ups and downs, but they got it.
But there's still some stipends that are coming through, and that should be on the May 29th, because the year-end stipends are getting encumbered this week. So, year-end sports, but year-end stipends for teachers and stuff like that. We are working towards next year having them encumbered earlier, but, it's a process. It's my first year, so we are just watching those encumbrances every day, basically.
Any other questions for Rita?
But, this is basically the detail that you're used to seeing.
And then the other level, too, of seeing it through the software.
Yeah, I think that's on the bottom. Yeah, so then this is by function from eFinance. Are we ready to go to the next attachment?
Yeah.
That would be the, so this one is the grants that are in EGMS. Their balances are looking really good. I've been watching them, and we do the end of the year filing. But as you can see, we're spending them down, and I don't see any issues with spending them. They'll be, if they end this year, they'll be zeroed out. If they carry over, we carry over what we're allowed or less to carry over. So it's just your monthly report for the...
Most grants, do you have to, well, it depends on the grant, so never mind.
Yeah, so we're working hard to spend those down and make sure that the reporting...
And the titles require that you spend 85% at this time, and we've done a good job with that, too. And then you can carry over the rest.
I don't know what happened to my screen.
Any questions on that attachment? Mike?
Just a comment. So this gets us even further along in addressing recommendations from the draft operational review about reporting on grants just in the same way they report on the general fund.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's really helpful.
Right, these are the EGMS grants, and then the next attachment is the DODIA and the Treehouse.
It's wonderful, and I can see the age of the software is applied by printouts.
Yeah.
Yes.
Working through that.
We also said another summer project is to start with Munis and start
the
process. It's going to take us a few years, but it's good. It's going to be good to get it started.
So these are kind of like the categorical ones mostly. Is there the competitive grants? They're another set of grants. Are they in the same sort of system, or is that just a whole other?
Well, the first report includes competitive and non-competitive for the state. Yes.
Okay.
Second report is DODIA, that's outside of the EGMS. So I kept them separate because the age of the software only limits me to a certain amount of functions at a time, and I'm still trying to, I would love to have a combined report, but these are the grants that we have in the system.
Okay, so
Yeah.
if we've got a grant right now,
It's
it's
in-
in here. That's
Correct.
And state grants are categorical most of the time, but they're also competitive. Like we just got the additional
Perkins, that's not in here yet, but
competitive.
we just got
And
that.
Office of Early Childhood, that was competitive.
Right.
So we're really pleased that we're able to get additional funding from the state for these wonderful purposes.
The only thing I haven't, hopefully in the summer, I'll be able to get the food service reports. That's the only one that We're still working on doing the budgets because it's a big department. So we're still working on that, but you should be getting reports next year on those monthly. And then the last, this keeps coming. The last one is the budget transfers. Last attachment. So I'm going to scroll down to the page, hopefully. Page 13 is where you would, all the blue area has already been approved. Those are prior budget transfers. So from page 13 to 22, there is a lot. The main one is going to be another true-up transfer that I did for the salaries, and mostly they're hourly accounts. But all of these are just from the departments. They send us their budget transfers, and we just enter them and put them through the workflow, basically. We give them a little description on each one. So if you have any questions on any of the transfers, let me know.
This certainly will be so much more helpful when we go to lay out the next budget, because we really know what the actuals are with this transfer process.
It really will help next year.
Will help.
And the directors had their first look at Alivu, the budget module, last week, so I'm excited about that, because they'll be able to watch their budgets every day if they want, in this budget system. So
Our grants writer loves it, because she's always checking on those funds.
So as you can see, the true-up transfers a few pages, and it's about $3.7 million. But for this board, you'll be voting on the $4 million later. So if you have any questions, I can answer them now. Or
Mitch?
What does true up mean?
So it's looking at all of the balances, because I feel like salary should be encumbered by now. So if a balance if they have a positive balance, I make it zero. If they have negative balance, it's just truing up, making them zero.
Okay.
Because the state requires us to not go over in a major category. So all the 100s in the salaries, we cannot go over what we budgeted. We have to do a budget transfer before the end of the year, so we're not in the negative. That's a state law. In the major categories, you can't go over budget.
So where does the money come from?
It comes from the available, so there's some lines that have money in it because we might have had a leave of absence. I can't, there's all different reasons of
Like a substitute
for a teacher, or a para we didn't hire and we had a substitute, vice versa. But does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah. It's really hard to, budget for overtime and stuff like that. You can't, getting to the penny is very difficult. So there's going to be true-up transfers a couple times a year. And this is the second one.
You said it's to get the zero balance. Is that?
It's basically to get the major categories not in the negative. You don't want salaries in the negative or benefits. Any of those major categories, we have to do transfers before the end of the year.
And then that's crucial when you're reporting to the state of Connecticut.
So as soon as I get the account number from the town, I think by next week I'll be doing the transfers into the non-lapsing. So that, I think right now we have 500s are in the negatives. That's tuition. So that negative goes away because we're going to be using our non-lapsing funds to
Resolve it.
yeah. Does that make sense?
What would you do if you didn't have enough in the non-lapsing funds?
We need to go to the town.
So I thought you said, okay.
But I don't see that. I don't foresee that this year. I think we're going to, break even and just make decisions on once everything is paid. it's hard. The encumbrance is an estimate. We're still paying utility bills. We're still, getting in. Utilities are always a month behind. So, we try to call the vendors as much as we can and say, please send the invoices. But, Eversource, they send them when they're sending them.
No convincing them.
So it's a process, and it's going to take till the end of June to really know exactly where we are. But I feel comfortable with the utilities encumbrances at the moment.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Rita?
That's it for
Jen?
So, can we vote on this, or because doesn't need to wait till
Yeah,
like
that would be
the
great.
end? What would we need to do so that we could vote on this? So she doesn't stay?
Make a motion to move the item up from, she's on new business, so move the item up to right now. Adrian, you have your hand up first.
Yeah, so I apologize if I just missed this, but have we, is the audit done?
Yes, it's done.
So do we actually have the non-lapsing funds money yet?
I received an email from Dee last week. I'm just going to, she's created an account, and she said yes, she's creating an account to put the non-lapsing funds in there. So once I get that account number, I can make the journal entries on our side. It's separate systems. I can make the journal entries next week. But she said that the funds are available.
All right, so it seems like they're available now or
Yeah.
next week. When was the audit completed?
I don't think it's
What was the draft form?
I think it was in draft form, and they're presenting it to the council the first week of June, so that's next week. And so it's technically, I just received the draft, and they said it's the final, but I don't usually receive an actual copy until they present it to the council.
Right.
Yeah, but so, is there some state regulation that says, because I know that there's a state regulation on when the audit needs to be done.
Right.
And I'm guessing that it's not just that it's given to the council, but what's that state stipulation or regulation say for when an audit is complete? It seems to me that it was complete months ago.
Well, I don't know if there's an actual date that it needs to be completed, because they can file an extension, and they kept filing the extension all the way till, I think, May 31st was their final extension. So it had to be completed by May 31st. So I know it's complete. But there's not an actual date, because they can file for extension into next year. I'm glad it's done now, but...
So the audit's not done, but we're done, it's just the town's not done with their portion of the audit, is that?
The town has not, I think the town has not presented it to the council, so it doesn't become public yet.
All right, so it's not us that's late on an audit, it's the town that seems to be taking a long time. But they're allowed to, there's rules on that.
I wouldn't say it's the town that's taking a long time.
It was both
The audit's done, but it's only in draft form. I don't want you to start pointing fingers at the town that it's them that's holding up the audit. That's not true.
Well, I just want to...
Okay, I just want to correct you. That's not true. The audit is done. It's only in draft form.
All right. I just wanted to point out that there's difference, because at this point, we were being villainized 2 years ago over the audit.
Yeah.
And we are done, so it's, I just wanted to make sure that was clear. Because my understanding was that we should have got the money when we were done, but I guess that's different.
Yeah, that's not how it goes.
The regulation is.
I do want to say they have already emailed me about next year's audit, so we're going to get started early.
There we go.
Just that's a positive.
Catch a break.
They're already setting up the preliminary, so.
Ian and then Jay.
Yeah, just to be clear, this is the annual audit, the usual annual audit we're talking about?
Yes, correct.
Yes, yes, yes.
Right.
So, do we have any understanding, like, why they're filing extensions? Like, what's the reason that they have to file a reason why?
Who's filing the extensions?
When the town files extensions, it's because
They just didn't have more time.
Yeah.
They didn't have but that's up to the town, Ian. Do you have anything that pertains to the
Well,
board?
the plan, as I understand it, is that, the audits are supposed to be like, everything submitted by the close of the year, or by the close of the fiscal year, and then the process, like, September, October, November, and then like December, it's like usually like that's when the finalization comes through, and January is when the report's issued and everything's done. Is that the typical timeline?
I hope that's the timeline next year. That should be. It is the typical timeline.
That's the typical time. Okay.
Yeah.
And, but now we're talking about like draft versions of things that you reminded me about and Mike Brady mentioned this earlier, the operational review. Is there any sense of that being closed out at any time? Because that, last I heard, was still like a draft form as well.
I think I got the final from John. There were no changes from the draft to the final.
Okay, so it's finalized. Is that a case closed type situation now? Are we done?
Well, we're not done because Rita's done a remarkable job putting things into practice that were identified. So we're.
The review is
I think it's final.
The reforms are another matter.
Right.
We're well on the way of fixing those issues prior to the issue.
That's true.
Right.
That's true.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Jay?
I just want to say, Rita, thank you. You do a great job, and I appreciate you.
That's what I'll do.
Yeah. We're getting there. We're getting there.
Yeah.
We're getting there. Jay?
Yeah, just one piece of the puzzle is that the Federal Audit Clearinghouse accepted the single audit for the federal funds on May 12th. So obviously this has just happened. So that was accepted by the GSA on May 12th. But my understanding is that the town portion is final when they accept it. It does seem to me that it's a little bit later than we were led to believe that they're due. But I'm hoping that that'll be explained at the town council meeting. And I'd like to second what Ian said. We appreciate all your hard work, Rita. We really feel like we're moving in the right direction now.
Thank you.
Mitch?
I think the question may have been answered. I'm not sure. Was there any findings in the portion of the audit that we've seen that we need to be concerned about?
Well, they'll talk about the findings, if there were any, when the audit is at a draft form.
Okay, so it's premature.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
All right, Jen, you want to make your motion to move item 3 under new business?
Yeah. I would like to make a motion to item C, action item C3 under number 8, discussion and possible action regarding fiscal year 26 budget transfers to now.
Second.
Okay. Jen and Mitch. All those in favor, if you don't mind, you got discussion? Go ahead.
Second, I didn't catch the voice of the gentleman who's second.
Oh, that was Mitch.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Jonas. Okay, any discussion? All right. Kathy, are you for discussion or are you for the vote?
All right, your hand is up.
I'm voting.
I'm voting.
She's ahead of us all day.
We're only voting right now to move action item C3 so we can talk about it and vote on it now. So all those in favor, if you're online, raise your hand. And if you're in person, so Dr. Ackerman, Ian, Jay, Andrea's for moving it up, and us four here, that's 8 in favor. Okay. So it's approved to move up. Okay. Now, you want to read the motion, Jen?
Sure. I'd like to make a motion to approve the fiscal year 26 budget transfers between functions in the amount of $4,011,184.
Second.
Okay. Discussion. Jay? No. Discussion? Okay. All those in favor of approving the FY26 budget transfers between functions in the amount of $4,011,184. If you're online, raise your hand. If you're here, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, that passes 8-0. Okay, going back to the front.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And Amber, you can probably hit the road because we've got, everything else we've got, we have covered.
Thank you.
Thank you. And it's still light out, ladies. It's not dark.
All right, next is the Director of Facilities report. Good evening, Sam.
Yeah, so I've got 5 items I'll report on here pretty quickly. The first item is Mary Morrison Early Childhood Center that we're working on. Painting is progressing over there. As a matter of fact, my painters are, the contractors are there right now, and when I leave this meeting, I will be going to check with them again. And we did work over the holiday weekend to get that in ship shape. The movers have come and removed the obsolete items that were determined by the superintendent to be obsolete. So that stuff's been cleaned out, which will make the fire marshal much happier that we're not storing all that stuff in that building. And we are coordinating, Tom Bingham, maintenance supervisor, and I are coordinating with Shannon on the playscape ramp, the ramp that goes down to the playscape. Also working with the landscaper in doing some excavation down there on that playground to get that ready for the new parts that are coming in for that playground. And also the egress windows that we're going to need in those classrooms have been ordered. We're waiting for those to come in, at which time we will have those installed. And also working with Shannon on finding some staircases that we could use in those classrooms so that the little ones can get up, because they are, to get out the windows, it's about this high right here. It's at 31 inches in that building, so you're going to have to get up a set of stairs to get up to the egress window to get out. The plan would be to have the second member of that staff that's in that classroom be on the outside and help them down. But so it's about 32 inches total from the ledge to the ground on the outside, or to the floor on the inside. So that's Mary Morrison. The Northeast.
Before you move on, during finance facilities, you were waiting on the lab testing. During finance and facilities, you mentioned the lab testing for, I think, 2 rooms. I don't know if those came back.
Yeah, I should have those by the end of this week.
Okay, perfect. We'll talk about it at the
next meeting. I'll let you know, yes.
Perfect, thank you.
I'll probably report it to the superintendent as soon as they have it. She'll probably put it in board notes or something too. You can send that out.
Is that the water too?
Yeah, that's the water.
That's the water. Yeah, we had a couple test sites that were not to our liking that we had to retest. So. Groton Utility was kind enough to come over and get those done for us. So once they get back from the lab, we'll make that report. The Northeast Academy entry, you may have heard that there was a problem over there, but that has been 100% corrected. The locking mechanism was not functioning properly. There was an electrical problem, apparently a short within the door at a place where you couldn't find it for some time. But you guys finally got that taken care of. In the Fitch High School entry, there's a solenoid that's on order for that door to operate correctly. And Dr. Kennedy, his group met with my technicians to work on the sound, and so that the IT portion of that has been ordered. So as soon as those parts are in, then we will have a new means of speaking to the people outside, and it'll be clear.
I think a visual too. A visual like a...
Yeah, it's a camera and a speaker together in one box. So as soon as that's in, we'll get that taken care of, but it is on order. We are, obviously, our staff is mobilizing for the promotions in all our schools. Some of them are going to happen on the same day, so our guys are going crazy. And of course, graduation at the high school. So all those plans are being developed between the schools and our staff, and we'll be taking care of those here very soon. I just had number 5, the robotics on here. We have, I think, three different plans, Susan, on the
For the
robotics
field, yep.
For where the field will be placed outside the wood shop. So we'll be sharing those with you very soon.
With all the details that go with it and the codes and prices.
So if you have any questions, we'll be happy to try and answer.
Adrian, and then Mike, you have a question. No, Adrian?
Yes, Sam, with the graduation week coming, I've been attending a lot of things in the Fitch High School auditorium, and it seems like the sound has been going downhill. And I've recently learned that the main speaker on the right side of the stage doesn't work at all. Is there any way, and I know it's going to cost a lot of money to replace a lot of the sound system, but is there any way we can rent some equipment, especially because we have graduations coming up? We have a lot of stuff coming up, and just to kind of get us through the hump, so people in the audience and people on the stage can hear what speaks.
Yeah, that's a project that we're working with Dr. Kennedy on, and I believe we're all set there. But in any event, I'll discuss that option with him about the potential of renting some units if needed. But I think that he told me today that we're set there. But I'll double check on that, and I'll certainly share that idea that you had with Dr. Kennedy.
Meaning we're set right now, or we're set for next year?
No, I believe it's been taken care of, and that everything should be in operation right now. But I'll double check on that, and I'll get back to you tomorrow on it.
All right, thank you.
Anything else, Sam?
Nope, that would be it for me.
Okay. Any questions for Sam? Next.
I'm sorry. I think Mitch had a question for me.
Yeah, are any of the things that you were just talking about related to number 8 on this list of recommended funding priorities?
What's number 8?
Fitch High School Auditorium Phase 2 sound system.
Yeah, that's a sound system that Dr. Kennedy is working with our people on.
Okay.
It started to progress with the first phases, and now it sounds like it's still having issues.
I believe you also had a question about vehicles?
Yeah. What did you mean by not roadworthy?
What I mean by that is that the town takes care of our vehicles, they maintain our vehicles, and they are beyond the point of repair, so they are not allowed to go back on the road. So we have two, that's why we have in there two vans. They're not trucks with plows, they're vans, an electrician van and a plumbing van, so that they'll have their tools with them at all times when they're out and about. And so we need to replace those two vehicles. Those two vehicles are actual vans, not plow vehicles.
So
We have sufficient number of pickup trucks and a smaller dump truck and another multi-use truck that was a dump truck at one time with plows on them to do our plowing for us.
So the experts at the town garage, please tell me if I'm wrong, determined that
That's correct, yeah.
they're not roadworthy. I don't know what not roadworthy means, though. I mean, is it
Not safe to be on the road.
not safe?
Yeah.
Okay.
So they've been, so they're out for auction essentially right now as more or less junk.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks for passing that on.
Many, I can't remember the years on these, but these are older vehicles. At one point, I had a replacement schedule where I was replacing them. I would replace one vehicle each year. A couple of years ago, that stopped. We ran into some problems financially, so we weren't able to do that. But so the vehicles that are not roadworthy now, those two vans are. They would have been replaced in the next year or two anyways, but it came up sooner than we hoped. You see how much salt gets poured on the roads and in the parking lots of our schools and stuff, and even though you try and wash it off, the salt really cakes up under the frames of the vehicles. So unfortunately, those two vehicles have rotted out, say rusted or rotted out enough that it wasn't safe to be on the roads anymore.
I believe that Public Works just got, or just got funding or is going to be installing equipment to wash underneath
We had
the trucks.
It opened up, I don't know if it was, probably sometime, well, it was during the winter that we used it this year, so now we're able to use that rather than going to a car wash and pay for that, or spraying them down with a hose out in the backyard. We can't do that either, so.
I'll spray them underneath. That's whenever I wash my car, I always spray underneath before I touch anything else. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions for me?
I'll take questions.
I said, any other questions for Mitch instead of Sam? Thank you, Sam. All right, committee reports, policy.
Well, we didn't have a meeting this month, which would have been like, that was this last week or the week before, like 2 weeks ago. But what you'll see on this agenda is some of the policies that we've been working on.
Okay. Thank you, Mike. Curriculum?
We do not have a meeting yet. The one that's scheduled for next week, we moved from the 1st of June till the 2nd of June.
Okay. Finance and facilities?
We met on May 5th. Most of the items we discussed were reviewed here by the Director of Finance and Director of Facilities. And we are going to have a meeting on June 2nd. And Mitch, you were asking about the vehicles. At that point, Rita is going to be working with Sam, and they're going to have like a vehicle report, like type of vehicle, age of vehicle, number of mileage. She has to file a report anyway. So hopefully by that meeting, we should have something. If not, we'll have it in the July timeframe. But
Okay.
Otherwise, that's all we have for finance and facilities.
Communications? Jay?
We meet quarterly. We'll be meeting next month. I'll be sending an email to poll members on their preferred date.
Okay, in June, right? Okay. Anyway, communications will be meeting in June. Okay, next is learn Learn met on May 14th. Michael Belden, Learn's Chief Financial and Operation Officer, proposed the FY 26-27 budget to the board. The presentation included an overview of budget development, key assumptions, major expense drivers, fund balance, usage, and capital projects and strategic financial planning across Learn's programs and services. Learn's budget process is different than the traditional district budget due to the agency's reliance on fluctuating enrollment, state funding, allocations, grants, contracts, and tuition-based revenue. The total agency-wide budget is projected at approximately $146 million. The West Vanguard Schools and Goodwin University programs receive $12 million in additional state funding, and Learn will receive approximately $1 million out of that. Learn's growing regional service model includes payroll, HR, business, office, IT, and food service support to multiple regional school districts, and they provide a high-quality service. Kate Erickson, she talked about her recent Leadership Academy trip to Portugal and Spain. And finally, the upcoming Learn State of Agency. I wouldn't be here for that, but you're invited, Susan, on June 11th. It starts from 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock. And that's all I have for Learn. Athletic fields, Mike or Mitch?
If there was a meeting, I missed it. They met last week. I did not attend it. I do know that the property near Fitch was on the agenda, and we also got word that they were canceling the June meeting.
All right. Are you not getting the emails, Mitch, about the meeting?
I probably am, but I've been spending so much time here. I missed it. That's a Mitch error.
All right, I just want to make sure that you get the emails. All right. Do you get minutes from the meeting, Mike?
I didn't get minutes. I don't know if they're posted yet, actually.
Okay.
But they did discuss it. It was on the agenda.
It was on
for
the agenda.
property.
I assume they would have discussed it, but we'll see.
And we have no one for trails, no one for the library. And while you're looking for that, Mike, Susan can, or Dr. A can talk about the military superintendent's liaison.
So we're meeting more quarterly now, and we had our final meeting, and there were superintendents from other areas. I know that Kate Erickson from Learn was there, and Jay Hartling was there from Ledyard. And we talked originally about the compact and the effects on our kids, and we always have a rich discussion on that and the professional learning that needs to happen with counselors so that they understand the military compact. We probably understand it best because we have so many military children and we deal with the compact as kids are moving in and out. But there's other districts that have fewer and may not be aware that it's all 50 states have signed, these agreements for kids moving in and out of districts who are military impacted. So, and then we always share information out between the districts, and I usually have a couple principals or assistant principals with me. Lauren Cassini always likes to attend as well, and I know Dr. Ackerman was there in person for that one. Did I catch it all, Dr. A?
Yes, I was, and I appreciate that you did that.
Yeah.
Because I did not take notes and then I realized, holy cow, I didn't take notes. But I knew that you did that and you would be able to report, so I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Thanks so much.
No problem. We're glad you were there.
Me too.
Jay, you have your hand up?
Yeah, I just wanted to discuss library. That was added as a courtesy for a former board member who was simultaneously serving on that board.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there's a liaison position available. And unless I'm wrong, I really don't think this even needs to be appearing, as that member has been gone for over a year.
Okay. And what about the trails one, Jay?
Yeah, that is a liaison position, but I just don't believe that anybody's been appointed to it.
Okay. Let me know if someone would like to serve on the Trails Liaison Committee.
And may I raise a parliamentary question at this point?
Mm-hmm.
I believe we have somebody waiting to talk about a field trip, so I'm wondering if when you get to that point, if you could move them up. I always feel like if we have staff waiting, that they shouldn't have to sit through all of the other business on our agenda. If it's possible to move them to the top, but that's just my opinion. Thank you.
No, that's something I talked to Joyce about, but it slipped through this time, so sorry about that. All right. Anything else? Okay. Action items. Consent agenda. All matters listed under the consent agenda are considered to be routine and will be enacted by one motion. Points of clarification will be allowed, and this is approval of the special meeting on April 22nd, a regular meeting on April 27th, approval of the special meeting on May 11th, and approval of the special meeting minutes of May 20th. And also we have acceptance of gifts. Linda Johansson donated $2,000 to go to the district's unpaid mail debt. And we had the following donations were made to the Mentor program for its 2026 Mentor Family Dinner. JR Seafood donated a $25 gift certificate. Mystic Pizza donated a $25 gift certificate. Angie's Pizza donated a $50 gift certificate. Barnett's Country Gardens donated a $25 gift certificate. Dairy Queen donated 73 cones. Yetta Road Christmas Tree Farm donated a $100 gift certificate. And Tree Trails Adventures donated 2 free admission passes. So do I have a motion for the approve the consent agenda?
I'll move that motion.
All right, Mike, you want to second it, Mitch?
Sure.
Okay. Any questions, comments? Adrian?
I just wanted to thank the person who donated towards the unpaid meal balance and just commend them for kind of stepping up and helping our district with that. So that's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Any other comments, Mitch?
Can we send that person a letter that says thank you?
We always do. Yes, that's really important part of this, yeah, to appreciate them.
Just a question. So I went to that mentor dinner. There were a lot more gifts there for the students. Were some of those purchased and not donated, like Legos and
I
all
think
of that?
they were all donated. I will find
Okay.
out, though. The
'Cause there were a
baskets,
lot-
I'm trying to
there were
remember.
Baskets,
Yeah, there
there
were a lot
were
of
there were
stuff.
a lot of stuff. So I would like to,
Yeah.
if we're going to list some donors, we need to list them all or none.
I feel like there were teams of people who were putting those baskets together, but I'll find out.
Yeah,
Okay.
or at least just give them. Yeah, thanks.
And thank you to everyone who donated. We really appreciate it. And especially the unpaid school debt, that unpaid meal debt. But thank you to everybody that donated to our school and helping our kids. That's great. Okay, all those in favor of approving the consent agenda, say aye. If you're online, raise your hand. Okay, 7. 1, 2, 3. Okay, 7. Oppose? Abstentions? Okay, approved. Next, Jay, you want to make that motion? Jay?
Yeah, I just stepped away from my desk, of course. Just give me one moment to get back there. Okay, I move to approve Fitch High School's music department field trip request to Orlando, Florida, rescheduled for April 22nd, 2027 through April 25th, 2027.
I'll second.
Second? Okay. Jay and Mike. Okay, discussion. Is the person online, Susan?
I don't see
It's
the
attachment 11 in your
I don't
packet.
see the teacher online, but I do know that we had already approved this trip, and the actual event got rescheduled to this date, so we just have to switch the date, but it was already approved prior, from what Joyce had said.
Mitch?
Maybe I'm missing something here. Who's going on the trip?
So it is through the music department, so it'll be the kids who are performing
Okay,
on this trip.
okay.
Where are they going, in Florida?
Oh, I thought you said Orlando.
Orlando.
Okay, but it's not, I don't see, maybe somewhere right in there.
With an attachment that was in that.
Okay.
Attachment 11, you said?
Mm-hmm.
I have
And
10.
it's up on the other side of the first page. So they're going to Disney World?
Yeah.
Okay. And
This is a trip they've done in the past.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the course is $2,000 based on 60 attending, and $1,000 for the chaperones. And they could do fundraising. Okay. Mitch?
So is that all going to be covered by fundraising by the students or whoever? Okay.
Yep.
Gives them a
And
stake
if there
in
needs to
it.
be some scholarship, that's always taken care of through a donation account, so.
What, Mitch, are you asking if the cost of $2,000 is going to be covered by fundraising?
Yes.
Well, fundraising will help support it, but
Okay,
yeah,
just want you
kids
to be
do,
clear.
kids do pay a portion, and if they need help supported, with that, we do have a donation account
Okay.
to help.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other comments? Okay, all those in favor of approving Fitch High School's music department field trip request to Orlando, Florida, be scheduled for April 22nd, 2027 through April 25th, 2027. They're only going for 3 days. Okay, say aye. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, oppose. Okay, that passes 8-0 to 0. Thank you. All right. Next, old business.
Oh, that's the old business.
Right, back to old business. B1, discussion and possible action regarding a second reading of policy P0521, non-discrimination, attachment number 9. Mike, do you want to read that? Read the motion.
Yeah, I move to approve policy P0521, non-discrimination, as a second reading.
Okay, Jen, second? So that was moved by Mike and seconded by Jen. All right, Mike.
All right, I'll be quick with this one. This came up as we were kind of systematically reviewing policies, and the main task was to update the legal references, which the administration did. There's some slight wording changes in the text, and this version, I don't believe has been changed at all since the first reading.
2006, so it's a 20-year-old.
Right, but this was the first reading. I think this is exactly the same.
Okay.
There weren't any, unless there was just like a typo or something. And then the other part is it does have the, along with it has the regulations, the report form for complaints of discrimination. And the other has been added to that. I think that was something brought up last time. Like if the reasons for this complaint, I don't think there was an other box before.
Okay, yeah.
There is now.
Any comments? Okay. All those in favor of approving policy P0521, non-discrimination as a second reading? If you're online, raise your hand. If you're in person, raise your hand too. Okay. All right, that passes. That passes, Joe, 8-0. Next item on the agenda. Discussion and possible action regarding a second reading of policy P5118, non-resident attendance. That's attachment number 10. Jen, can you read that motion, please?
Motion to approve P5118 non-resident attendance as a second reading.
Do you have a second? Mitch? Any? Mike?
This is second reading. It went through well, the history of it came twice for first reading. The first time it failed largely because of questions about the definition section, what are the definitions of a non-resident student. We went back and looked at it and found out that no one might disagree with some of the wording or have questions about it. It's basically, it's all in the state regulations. So it came back with some changes and then passed the first reading. Now, at this point, the second reading, I don't think there have been any changes since.
And it all derived because of that number one in the green non-resident attendance. And remember when I talked about the military compact and the safeguards for military children that they didn't have when we were kids? But this is one of them that if they transfer, that students can stay in the district if they're in the 11th grade.
Thank you. That was an urgency of getting this updated, this policy updated.
Mitch?
I had noticed and sent in an email about for that on page 3 of 3 where it says legal reference, Connecticut General Statutes. And I said, I think you mean statutes. And so the response I got back was they fixed it on this and like 6 other.
Yeah, they'll fix it on the one that's going to go online. But this one was sent out before you said that.
Okay.
Yeah, she'll fix it.
It's a good catch.
Yeah, that's what she said to Mitch. Good catch.
So it did for 42 years at EB.
Catching all kinds of things.
She'll fix it on the
Okay.
on the next one. Adrian?
Yeah, I'm just going to make a statement that I'm going to abstain from voting on this one because of those definitions. And I understand that, maybe we have to pass the state definitions, but I think the state definitions are unreasonably, they would be hard to enforce. They're overly specific in some areas and just not fair to various types of residents. So I'm just going to abstain from this.
Okay. Dr. A? That's a joke again now. Ian?
No, I was voting again.
Okay.
Say it again.
Ian?
Oh, yeah, I support Adrian's concerns with the situation, so I'll join him in abstaining.
Okay, fine. Any other comments or suggestions? Okay, all those in favor of approving policy P5118, non-resident attendance as a second reading, raise your hand. So that is, yes, Mike, Jane, Mitch, Bev, Jane, and Andrea. Okay, that passes. Joan, 6 in favor, 2 abstain, no opposed. So that passes. Thank you, Mike.
Thank you. I hope you have a good rest of your meeting.
You mean there's more?
Yeah, I see Katie Shelton is on there too. She's been waiting so patiently for Green Bay.
Well, that's nice.
Yep.
Okay. So the next item on the agenda is discussion and possible action regarding approval of a resolution to enter into a solar panel power purchase agreement at Robert E. Fitch High School. That's attachment number 12. Who wants to read this long whereas?
Let's have Adrian, because he has to sign the thing. I have your paper to sign, Adrian, when you get able to come by, maybe tomorrow.
I'll sign it, but I can't read it.
Okay.
I actually don't have glasses with me.
Oh, okay, that's all right, we'll read it.
All right. Mike, you want to read it?
I suppose so. Okay, so, but I'll read what's in the agenda.
Okay.
Not this.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I was trying to see if they're the
Mitch said
same.
he'll read it. If you don't want to read it, Mike.
Oh, go for it if you like.
You want to read it,
But
Mitch?
we don't have to read. My question is, do we have to read the first
No,
part?
because that's for Adrian when he signs it.
Okay.
He undersigned.
So stick with the agenda.
You want to read it, Mitch?
Sure. Whereas the board intends to enter into an offtake agreement as defined below with Cephia Solar Services or any of the subsidiary of Connecticut Green Bank, collectively the seller, pursuant to which the seller will install renewable energy systems at the following property or properties which are owned by or under the care of the control of the board. Robert E. Fitch Senior High School, 101 Groton, 1 Point Road, Groton, Connecticut. Whereas the seller will sell the electricity generated by such systems to the board over 20 years, as more particularly described in the certain powers purchase and license agreement by and between the seller and the board, the offtake agreement, the substantive form of which is attached hereto and made part hereof, subject to final modification to be resolved. The board is hereby authorized and empowered, acting through the superintendent in accordance with the requirements of any applicable charter, bylaws, ordinance, or code, to take on any obligations contained in the offtake agreement. Ordinance is spelled incorrectly in here, by the way. Maybe it's not. That further be resolved that the superintendent of the board acting alone be and hereby is authorized and empowered and directed to do all things that may be necessary or appropriate to obtain and consummate the transaction contemplated above, including to execute the offtake agreements and all other such agreements, instruments, documents associated with the offtake agreement, and seller shall reasonably require with all such additional items, terms and conditions of such the board shall determine to be necessary, useful, or required in the furtherance of or in order to give effect to the purpose or intent of the resolution set forth herein. And one more paragraph. Be it further resolved that any acts of the superintendent of the board acting alone or on behalf of the board taken prior to the date hereof, which would have been authorized by the foregoing resolutions, be and are individually and collectively ratified, confirmed, adopted, and approved. That nomination is seconded.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Mike? Okay. Discussion.
My hand is up.
Go
I
ahead.
have a question.
Oh.
I have a question. Beverly said at the last meeting, 20 years is a long time. And this occurred to me at the last meeting, but I didn't say anything then. And that is, how long locked in are we? I mean, 20 years, technology is going to change. So how locked in are we? Are we going to be stuck with something that's 20 years old when there's 50 years better technology, or the grabbing, as it were?
So it is a 20-year agreement. The reason that it is 20 years is to match the length of the revenue contract that we are securing with the utility company. In this case scenario, it is Eversource. And it's a fixed rate contract that we're entering into upfront through this total carve-out and the commercial incentive program. So, the benefit here to the school district is a fixed credit amount per kilowatt hour of electricity that is produced. And again, it's a 20-year contract to match the length of the revenue incentive that we're securing.
I hear you, but I don't hear an answer to my question.
you're locked into the contract for 20 years.
I'm sorry, say that again.
You're locked into the contract for 20 years. It's a 20-year agreement.
Despite whether there's new technology or not. And I'm sure in 20 years, this is going to be outdated by tomorrow.
We have done this at Mystic River and Groton Middle. Katie, was there a big difference in the way that was done? Was that also a 20-year?
I believe it's a 20-year agreement for both of those projects, and those were developed through the Connecticut Green Bank through the same program.
The difference, though, is the discounts we will notice monthly instead of quarterly or whatever, so it'll come right off the bill. Is that right?
That's right. So it'll be a monetary credit, and that'll come directly from Eversource.
It's just so you know, I'm voting no for this.
Okay. Adrian, and then Jen. Did he have it?
All right, sorry about that. I put solar on my own house about 6 years ago, and at the time, it was going to be something like an 8-year payoff, and it's actually paid off right about now. And the technology has changed in those 6 years, but minimally. I think the panels have gotten very slightly more efficient. Like PV panels have been around for decades. I think that the technology is going to stay similar to what it is now, but I imagine that the efficiency will just get better and better. So where we may have, I don't know, I'll say hypothetically an acre of panels, maybe you could do that in 3/4 of an acre in 20 years, but we're still taking the sun's energy and creating electricity, saving the taxpayers money, and offsetting carbon emissions, because although they do take some carbon to produce solar panels, they far exceed the amount of carbon taken relatively quickly in their lifespan. And I believe it's at 20 years, they're still going to be guaranteed at something like 85% efficiency. So I think this is a big win for the taxpayer. And if you're going to invest in something, you have to do it sometime. And this is really an investment financially on the best technology that we have right now, knowing that it will be better, but probably not tremendously better in 10 or 15 years. But I did have one question, something that I kind of thought of after, and I apologize for not asking this before, but and I don't foresee this, but if we were to do construction where we wanted to maybe put a field where there's currently some parking that would be putting panels over, is that possible in the agreement? Is there a way to work through that type of thing? Obviously, we can't get rid of all the panels and maybe we have to move or something. But is there a way to deal with that type of scenario in the agreement?
I mean, if you're relocating modules, there's going to be a cost to do so over the course of the agreement. So we really want to make sure that we narrow in the usable space up front. We don't want us to necessarily have to come out, remove modules, and relocate them during the contract term. Potentially feasible, but there is an expense to do so, and it would cost the district money. So I'd recommend if that's something that is anticipated, that we definitely look at the layout a bit closer.
Yeah, I don't foresee that. I was just kind of asking the questions. I think we've already done kind of a long-term plan with our fields, and I don't see that based on my understanding of the plan. I was just wanting to get clarification on that, if it's possible. So it sounds like we could. It would just be like an added complication on a different project if it were to come to fruition.
Yes.
You all said, Adrian?
Thank you. Yep, thank you.
Jen?
I apologize because I asked this when you presented, if the panels failed, what is your response time for repairing or replacing the panels that failed? Because the last thing we need is to be in a contract for 20 years and have half of the panels failed. And you responded, and I just don't recall what your answer was. So if you can repeat it, greatly appreciate that.
Sure, no problem. It's a great question. So As the system owner, we will hold all the manufacturer warranties associated with the equipment. We do stock backup modules as part of our project development. So we have, a case of extra modules in case there were to be an issue. But we will make sure that the system has regular preventative maintenance services. That's under the purview of the Connecticut Green Bank. Any emergency maintenance services are also our responsibility, so there's no cost to the school district if that were to occur. We do have remote monitoring as part of this system, same as the 2 previous installations that we completed. So we can monitor the system performance remotely, and we'll know if it's performing up to manufacturer specifications, or if we need to dispatch somebody to the site to come out and review and take a look at the installation. A key thing to just note here is that we are incentivized to make sure that the system is operating as it should be throughout the entire contract term. If it is not, Green Bank relies on the system production to essentially recoup the investment that we are making in the equipment up front over the course of the 20-year agreement. So we need to make sure that the system is performing as it should be throughout the term. We're incentivized to do so. But we have all those safeguards in place through operations and maintenance, backstop of modules, and then being able to monitor the system remotely.
Perfect, thank you.
Absolutely.
Ian and then Mitch.
Thank you. So just to circle back on one point, I believe it's part of the contract to include maintenance, repair, and upgrades, right? So as you just noted, like Eversource or the Green Bank's partners in having an efficient system as possible. So if there's improvements in technology over time, so the contract would include some upgrades in order to match what's current with technology, correct?
No, not necessarily. If there are improvements in technology and it makes sense to stop the equipment, that would be our discretion, but it's not a requirement that's mandated under the PPA. You are essentially benefiting from the power production from the system at a fixed rate credit for 20 years. We're making the investment up front to install that equipment. And being able to recoup our investment is based off of the system producing electricity over the 20-year term. So it may make sense to do so, but it's definitely not a mandate or requirement under the contract.
Does this contract speak to that at all in any capacity?
I don't believe so. Certainly operations and maintenance.
Maintenance and repair, but not necessarily upgrading to current standard. Now, if something that got damaged and a repair was required, would it be repairing as was or as what is current?
Generally speaking, you're going to want to keep the equipment. So if a module broke, for example, we wouldn't necessarily source a module from a different manufacturer and install it. We would use the backstop of what we previously installed on site to match the current equipment. If it's not available, then we may source something else. But generally speaking, it would match the equipment as was specified during interconnection and permitting for any repairs or replacement.
And what about options for extension? Once the 20 years are up, would upgrades then be on the table?
Yeah, so you have a few options at the end of the term. You can choose to end the contract at the end of the PPA term, in which case Green Bank would need to come out and move the system on our dime at that point in time. You have the option to extend the PPA. So our initial term is 20 years, and that's to match the length of the incentive through the utility. But the actual useful life of the equipment is typically 30 to 35 years is industry standard, actually warranted for 25 years. So again, good chunk of time there on the back end that you could extend that PPA. You can terminate the PPA and renegotiate a new agreement with new equipment at that point in time, or you could choose to buy out the system for fair market value at the end of the PPA term. So you have options available.
Got it. And say like another hypothetical, the contract is on the verge of terminating, and
say there's some other operations out there that are now have come into existence that are similar to Green Bank, and in some form or fashion, and they are entertaining the idea. They say we want to terminate with Green Bank's still responsible for taking away the equipment, and then whose responsibility is it to repair any sort of damage that's occurred to the roof?
This is a carport-only installation, but we're removing the system and restoring the site at the end of the term will be our responsibility.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No worries.
Yeah, carport. Okay, got it. Yeah. So again, so basically, you guys restore it as it was.
Yes.
That's part of the contract as well. All right, very good. Thanks for answering the questions. Appreciate it.
Andrew, you have a question?
I do. I want clarification on something. I thought I heard that agreement would keep up with the technology, but evidently that's not the case. So there's not going to be any improvement. If things improve in terms of delivery, there wouldn't be any improvement in terms of keeping this at an optimal level of delivery of energy or sun, whatever. So I thought I heard that there would be, but now I'm here. I just want clarification. Now I'm hearing that, no, that's not the case.
Yeah, so the plan is to keep the equipment as is proposed on site for 20 years. So again, going up front, it's being installed on our dime. There's no investment required by the school district, and the intention would be for the equipment to stay there. If it ever makes sense to swap the equipment, that's certainly, up to our discretion to look at and analyze and discuss with you all, but I don't anticipate that to be the case.
I see.
The point that was made earlier, there have been very few, or modest improvements in terms of the technology over time. Just to give you an idea, density of the modules is something that is talked about quite frequently, i.e. what wattage are the panels that are being installed on site. And while it does slightly increase on an annual basis, what has happened as of late is that there have been minimal improvements in technology. So what they have to do is actually increase the footprint of the module to increase the density. And so it takes up more space, and in some case scenarios you can actually get less panels on site than you would have with lower density modules. So it sounds counterintuitive, but it just goes to the point that there aren't these massive improvements in terms of technology. The system is going to produce electricity as expected throughout the contract term, and the degradation of the modules is pretty minor over the PPA term. So it's about 0.5% a year. We're pretty conservative in our modeling, where we include 0.64% annually. But technology has been here for a really long time. We haven't seen massive improvements in terms of increases in technology over that period of time.
Okay, thank you. You answered that question.
Mitch?
I don't know how to approach this, so I'm just going to come out and say it. In addition to my degree in mechanical engineering, I also have a degree in physics, and we studied solar energy. Admittedly, it was 45 years ago, okay? But it brings to mind a couple of questions. One is, do these panels move to follow the declination of the sun, or are they just stationary?
Nope, they're stationary fixed self-racking system.
Okay, that's fine. And everyone should pretty much recognize that the point at which you're going to generate the most electricity is when the sun is at the best angle, or the angle of declination, relative to the solar panels. But you've talked about monitoring the performance of the panels, and I don't recall hearing any mention of any physical inspections of the hardware holding them up, the structure, So is somebody going to come out periodically, and if so, how often, to inspect and make sure that everything is holding up satisfactorily?
Yes, so that would be under the purview of our operations and maintenance contract. The Connecticut Green Bank owns a large portfolio of solar systems, and we have our own operations and maintenance subcontractor that manages our portfolio. So there are preventative maintenance site visits to come out and inspect the system, as you mentioned. I believe it's annually, but I can check on that and confirm.
Okay, I'd like an answer to that question. I don't know if I can formally ask you if that violates any of the bylaws of the board for that. I'm still in favor of it, but I would like to know how often somebody comes out and conducts an inspection and what kind of an inspection they conduct.
Sure, absolutely. I'm happy to follow up on that.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? Okay, all those in favor of approving Fitch High School's, oh wait, I'm in my thing. All those in favor of approving the solar panels at Fitch High School? And all those in favor of approving the resolution to enter into a solar panel power purchase agreement at Fitch High School. If you're online, raise your hand. If you're in person, just say aye. You're raising your hand. Okay, that's...
Yeah, follow instructions.
6 in favor.
Did you catch Jay and Adrian over there on the corner?
Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 in favor. Opposed? Opposed? You opposed, Andrea?
I'm trying to get my hand up. I'm in favor.
Are you in favor? Okay, 7 in favor, 1 opposed, and no abstentions. So Andrea is opposed, Joan. That passes. Next is discussion and possible action regarding Juneteenth observation for 12-month employees. And Jen, can you read the motion for me, please?
I'd like to make a motion to approve the observation of Juneteenth on June 19, 2026 for 12-month employees.
Do I have a second? Mitch, any discussion? Mitch?
Can we just make it a regular thing that happens every year on or about June 19th, so we don't have to vote on it each year? Is that a foolish thing?
No. Is there a reason why?
I'm wondering that too.
I thought it was...
I thought it was because sometimes we are done with school
Right.
before the 19th.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just because of the snow days.
Could we word it so it's as close as possible to June 19th?
Actually, I thought it was because June 19th came around amidst one of the contracts and it wasn't built in, but I don't know. We should look into that.
I should ask
It
Laura.
does seem like
Yeah.
you're going to continue
there was a
celebrating it.
reason why.
There is a
It
reason
was-
why. I think we need to do that for this year, but I think in talking to Lori, why can't it be something every year?
I think it was it the, not the, the secretaries and the maintenance didn't have Juneteenth as a paid holiday. And with the recent negotiation, probably, or who else was on the negotiation team, with the current contract, we fixed that so that if it is school day, I believe, I just already were on.
Yeah, I think we
Yeah, I think they
look
would.
into it.
We'll look into that
Yeah.
though.
That's a good question. We'll look into it. I can't remember why.
We do have central office that don't have contracts, so they're 12-month employees.
There was a reason why. Go ahead, Mike.
I was just thinking, like, to follow up before next, like much earlier than next June, so we'll actually remember.
Tomorrow. Tomorrow, otherwise I might forget.
Because we could vote a few years next meeting to.
The minute like the snow day hits June 19th.
Ian, you have a comment about the Juneteenth?
Yes, do we vote, this seems like we vote on this every year, right?
That's what Mr. said.
Yeah, so I'm a little confused. I mean, it's a state holiday, right? It's been approved on state level. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's the state holiday.
Yep, and the
Yeah,
town does it too.
so I guess I don't understand why we have to approve it. It's a state holiday, we grant a state holiday.
We're gonna look into it, Ian. Let's look into it and get back. Okay?
All right, good.
All right, thank you. All those in favor of approving Juneteenth for 12-month employees, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Okay, that passes 8-0. Okay, thank you. Okay, you look into it, send us a memo, send us an email, ask Lori to, and please do that, so the board members will be happy that you responded. Okay, next, letters, communications, and comments by board members on meeting items and other items in their jurisdiction. Let's start with Ian. You got your hand up.
Yes, thank you. So I want to apologize, I was a little bit in and out through the meeting, my attention wavered. I was tracking the town council meeting as well, and I would encourage everyone to watch that, because they did discuss what we did in our meeting, and there seemed to be a good bit of confusion. Overall, it's not as bad news as I would have anticipated, so that's good. Sounds like we're going to get $500,000 from our direction.
Yeah, I was going to announce that, but go ahead. Mitch, I already got that information. But
My concern is the discussion beforehand, leading up to that. Some of the things that were discussed and the way the situation was framed by a few counselors in relation to the chair and how we handled it tonight, and the list of 10 items versus 5 and the $2 million amount versus the 1. That definitely caused some friction up there and caused some confusion. And so I would encourage everyone that's on this board to take a look at that section of the meeting, and you may want to, take some notes and follow up accordingly with however you see fit. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Jay?
Nothing to add, thank you.
Okay. Rich?
I have nothing.
Okay. Adrian?
I'm going to jump a little bit and just ask a question, because it's up next on the agenda, but I was going to talk about it now, or at least if I'm going to miss the meeting. So do we have a meeting date for a special meeting when we're going to talk about the FY27 budget?
So far, most people want May 28th, but I don't know if Susan's ready by then.
I think I've got something else. Hold on.
I cannot do the 28th.
I know, but it's going to be kind of hard.
Yeah,
Do we have
the
a
28th.
deadline for this, or what? Is there a deadline?
Well, Rita's going to have her own deadline, but she also has some recommendations too.
Okay, so you can't do May 28th?
I can't do the 28th.
And June 4th? What can you do?
I don't know, I got my dance card's full. We got a lot of it.
Yeah, June 4th is senior awards night.
Yeah.
Would Anne Marie be able to sit in as a...
Can Anne Marie sit in? If we do May 28th?
I really want to be there.
Okay. I'm away a week, so I don't want it to do it when I'm not here. I know. So that's why, so we got to pick a date here.
Okay.
Is there a deadline? Or can we do it anytime?
I think we can go into June.
It doesn't have anything with us, as far as I understand it.
Well, I think Rita definitely has to be there. She has some expertise to share.
I'm sorry, that's what I meant, district and board internal,
Yeah.
only to us, not
involving any other bodies in town.
Right, it's our decision.
Correct. Thank you.
We don't know if there's a deadline.
I would think for us, it would at least be before the start of the new fiscal year, because you have to open up a new budget to then,
So it has to be before July
have dollar
1st.
values in those.
Yeah, I would say if we can't get it in this last week of May, maybe we have to look. The problem with the first week of June is every night there's a retirement.
And I know, like, I remember from the prior finance director, it takes a while to upload it into the system. I believe it was quoted like 2 weeks or so. So I don't want to strap Rita or her team. So this
Thursday the
needs to
4th
get
looks
done
good.
sooner.
Thursday the 4th?
Looks good to me, yeah.
Thursday, June 4th.
That's the one day I have. Does that work for you guys?
I think I have something on the 4th, which is why I said the 28th.
So is the 11th out for review?
I'm not here. I'm away. The 28th, what's the 28th?
I got the kids signing day. I committed to, but I'll check into that. If I can do the 28th, I'll find out.
We have to know by tomorrow because she has to post it.
Yeah.
Joyce.
So let me talk to, so the 28th,
That's Thursday, I think, right?
Thursday. I think most
Thursday.
people said they could make it on the 28th.
okay, I'll check.
Okay. All right.
For whatever it's worth, if it has to be the 28th, I won't be able to be there, but that's fine. I have faith in my colleagues that, we'll get something sensible all knocked together here. So people kind of know where my desires or my areas of support are. So it's got to be 28th, it's got to be 28th, and I wish you all the best of luck with getting that done.
Okay, thank you.
So this is the FY27 budget with the $800,000 now.
Correct, yeah.
Got it.
And if it's the 28th, can it be like 6:30? Because we're the AG
I know, I
thing.
saw that.
All right, Mike, do you have anything?
Oh, I was just wondering, so you said you're going to mention the communication from the town council meeting. There's 500,000, but 5,000 for what? What do they say?
No, John said they didn't put any restrictions on it.
Which is good.
Yeah, no restrictions on 500,000. So, and I text back, does that mean we could spend it any way we want to? So I want to be clear on it, right? Okay, so. And we were actually advised by John to give them options. So I don't know what their conversation was, but he advised us to give options, to give our top priorities and then give options.
The
So
a la carte.
We didn't
The a la
come up with
carte.
that
yeah,
ourselves.
so we didn't figure that out ourselves.
We thought about the first 5.
Yeah, so I don't know what their conversation was and what they don't like, but we'll find out when we watch the meeting.
Maybe it would be a good idea when we decide how we're going to allocate it just to give them feedback.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could do that. That would be a good idea. Jen, you have anything?
No,
No.
except we're just going to mentor dinner.
Okay. Who else tonight? Andrea?
Oh, yeah,
Andrea?
No, I have nothing.
Okay. Adrian?
Yeah, sorry, I thought you said Adrian when you said Andrea. I was just going to say, if it ends up being a meeting that I'm not able to be at, I just want to reiterate my support for the younger, for the younger students and the needs for the younger students. When we look at reductions, I mean, our average class size is significantly higher in elementary and middle school than it is in high school. And And, you know, if we look back at, if we go back to COVID, those kids that were in 1st to 3rd grade are now in middle school, or actually maybe now some of them are in 10th grade, but some of the scores that we just reviewed kind of reiterated the importance of having a very solid foundation on those early years, and what happens if we don't have a strong enough foundation, meaning those kids that were in 3rd grade were part of that 8th grade cohort last year that really never caught up to reading at grade level. So I just would urge the board to not go back on some of those board additions that are really needed. So basically some of the tutors and social workers and stuff that those younger students really need. So that's kind of what I wanted to say, towards that meeting, if I can't be there. So thank you.
So who could be at the May 28th meeting? If we have a May 28th, you could be there, right, Mike? You said Jan, Midge, myself. Dr. A, can you be at the meeting if it's May 28th?
As long as you drive.
Okay. Jay, want to make sure.
Are you there? Going to be there?
Who, me? Yes.
Okay, so if somebody could pick me up and drop me up, I'm looking forward to it.
Okay, Jay?
Yes, I can do that.
Okay, I just want to make sure we have enough people.
Virtually, not in person.
Okay, all right, because I think Sean's out of town too. So,
if it's virtual, I'll be there.
all right, good.
Yeah, definitely.
And you don't need a driver.
And I don't need a mentee dinner also with Jan and Susan, and that's about it. And we also went to Charles Barnum, Jim and I. So, and that was a good tour of Charles Barnum, a good conversation with the principal. On this list for advanced planning, there's no mention of June 11th, the town council, RTM, city council, board of ed meeting. It's June 11th, I think at 6 o'clock, and at 5:55, and classroom 2. I'll check on the classroom, but...
Do you want that on here?
Yeah, it should be on here.
Okay.
June 11th. Okay? Any future meeting dates and calendar items for the attention of the board? Mike did make a referral. What was your referral, Mike? Let me get it. For finance and facilities to explore strategies to economize fuel usage in the buildings and on buses. Is everybody in favor of moving that to finance and facilities?
Yes.
In favor of that. Okay. So we put that on their referral list. I'll give it to you.
Could you just repeat what that was? What was the subject?
It says Mike wanted to make a referral to explore strategies to economize fuel usage in the buildings and on buses.
Got it. Okay, thank you.
Okay? Jen?
So for future meeting dates, as we approach the summer, is there a consideration by the chair and the rest of the committee to decrease the number of meetings?
Yeah, that's fine with me. We did that last year.
Yes.
We only had one COW and one regular Board of Ed meeting, and the committee met when they needed to meet. So
Perfect, thank
that's
you.
fine with me. Ian?
Yeah, thank you. With the $500,000 coming from the state fund, we're going to have a meeting on that in the near future, before July 1.
Yes, we will. I'll let you know when the meeting is.
All right.
Okay. All right. Anything else? Motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Okay.
Give that a chance.
Jay seconded. Andrea. All those in favor of adjourning? say aye. Aye. Okay, we are now adjourned. Thank you. Is that Caitlin?